Alright guys, if there is one thing I know that is bound to divide the internet is the debate on fricking the size of men's penis, the average size. Well guys, I have a paper today that is hopefully going to put everything to bed and just finally stop all these disagreements. Because unlike what Penguin Z0 claims in the videos that I've made about him, that like all of the guys on like YouTube are out to make you feel insecure so they can get your money, like no, I actually want to make you feel more secure, and I think this paper is going to do that. But it's funny, there's this like classic scene from South Park, what I'll put right now.
And so, by dividing the weight and the girth of the penis by the angle or what do we call it again? The yaw of the shaft. Well, Rebecca Turnod and I'm an actual doctor of human sexuality and behavior. Unfortunately, you have been taught some very wrong ideas in the past couple of days, and I am here to set things straight. I want you to try and forget these wild theories and understand that all that's important when it comes to a man and a woman making love is actually length times girth over angle of the shaft divided.
So you can see even in South Park, they joke about the debate on actual penis size. So guys, we're going to be breaking down this paper today, okay? The paper is titled Average Size Erect Penis, Fiction, Fact, and the Need for Counseling. And it is so adeptly named because you need to learn the real statistics. So in the background, they talk about how most men, when surveyed, think the average size penis is at least around 6 inches. And it's not, guys. It's nowhere near that. And we're going to break it down today. So what this paper looked at was it looked at all the papers of self-reported penis measurements, all of the papers looking at actual doctor measured penis size, and all the papers looking at actual stretched flaccid penis size to try to determine what is the actual size. So first we're going to start talking about the self-reported data. You know the term girl inches, where like, you know, girls always say like, oh, my ex was 10 inches. Do you know where it comes from? Men freaking lying about the size of their D. And here's definitive evidence here, guys, okay? So self-reported data had essentially an average penis size reported of 6.21 inches. Here's a paper here where they mention where it's actually 6.3 inches. Here's another paper where it's 6.14 inches. And you know who's even worse at lying, okay? The gay community, okay? Because in this paper here, looking at the gay data, they showed that the self-reported data, the homosexual community, was between 6.46 and 6.52 inches, okay? We're going to get into it, but that's well over an inch, almost an inch and a half bigger than actual measured stats. And they actually talk about a paper, and I want to actually read you this quote here. In another study in which 64.8% of gay and bisexual men self-reported erect penis lengths of 6 to 10 inches, guys. And it's like, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but I made a video about this paper, Am I Normal?, which looked at over 15,000 men, and there was not a single penis reported to be bigger than about 8.5 inches in that study, guys. Do you really think it's going to be possible that you're going to have almost 65% of men reporting they're somewhere between 6 and 10 inches? That's bullshit, guys. They're lying. But an important piece of this paper is they also surveyed these guys as they were like walking out of a bar. So some researcher comes up and puts the mic in your face and says, it's like a TikTok video, like, hey, how big is your penis? Like, of course you're going to be like, oh, it's 13 inches. Like, I mean, how is that even scientific reported data? But that's part of the problem that they report about here. And they talk about something that's called volunteer bias. Even if these guys truly are that size, the guys that are going to be willing to tell you how big they actually are going to be the bigger guys because they're more confident. We're going to talk about that because that's a very important point coming up. The overall mean that they found in this self-reported data is 5.57 inches. So let's just call it 5.6 inches. So next they actually talk about the measured erect lengths. So these are the lengths measured by an actual medical professional, whether it be a doctor or some other medical professional. Okay, when looking at a paper that measured with self-stimulation by a professional measured when the patient had self-stimulation was 5.02 inches. Then in a paper with an induced erection, over 80 participants, 5.07 inches. Another 2 papers looking at pharmacology, meaning injected medication to cause an erection, 5.35, 5.41. Now here we get to the bigger extreme, but here's a paper with both self-stimulation and pharmacologically induced erections of 5.7 inches. There's a study that they used, so one extreme was looking at Korean men, and it actually showed that the average size was about 4.68 inches, and then on the other extreme, the biggest paper that they could find had a measured average of about 5.88 inches, or almost 5.9 inches. However, guys, once again, listen to this. This is an actual means of how they got these numbers. The men were approached at a bar in Cancun and asked if they could measure the size of their penis. How many guys are actually going to volunteer for that? Like, that's absolutely ludicrous. Once again, you're going to have that volunteer bias where you are only going, the bigger guys are the ones that are going to actually let themselves be measured, guys. So the overall mean, looking at measured erect length, was 5.29 inches. Let's just call it 5.3 inches, okay? So self-reported was about 5.6 as a mean. And then now we have a measured erect length on average of about 5.3 inches. So briefly, guys, we're also going to talk about measured stretch flaccid. I've talked about this before, but there is clear evidence that stretch flaccid correlates with erect size. It is not a one-to-one correlation, and there's actually papers that actually talk about how many newtons of force you have to exert to make sure you're actually appropriately measuring, but it is an interesting surrogate. We're going to talk about it today. There was over 10 studies where the stretch flaccid was less than 5 inches. There was 10 studies where the stretch flaccid was between 5 and 5.6 inches. The overall mean stretch flaccid length was 5.1. So self-reported average, 5.6. Actual measured erect average, 5.3. And now stretch flaccid average is 5.1 inches. And for all my, global metric bros, just get out a calculator, measure the number in inches and multiply it by 2.54. Okay, it's very simple to calculate. So guys, before we go any further, I have an entire course on actual scientific ways you can enlarge your penis based on real medical principles. So if you're interested, the link is in the description. It's over 2 hours of material, and I think it's really a discount for how much material you get, and you get a step-by-step guide on how to do it, and how to do it, most importantly, safely, which the other guys are not going to teach you. So guys, in conclusion, what they did was they actually, like all of those crap studies with fraught with volunteer bias and all of this information, they cut those out. When you have the best studies of measured erect length, your average is between 5.1 and 5.5 inches. It's what it is, guys. I know that some of you guys are probably mad in the comments right now. Actually, if you look at, I get it. And, I want to hear what you guys think, but I'm just telling you, there's been multiple different studies that have showed that the average, according to real medical data, is 5.1 to 5.5 inches, guys. And almost more importantly to me, okay, listen to this quote. Less than 12 to 17% of men are greater than 6.3 inches when erect. That is a very small percent. That's like, gosh, almost 1 in 10 guys, maybe a little bit more than that, that are actually going to be greater than just 6.3 inches when erect. And a lot of you guys are probably saying right now, well, that's not true because I saw a guy that was in the shower. And guys, come on, guys. I'm using a mocking voice because I am tired of having these arguments. But it's okay, guys. I'm not actually making fun of you specifically for not knowing the data. Okay, I promise. It's okay. But I made a video, guys, that Am I Normal video, okay? Actual breaking down the biggest published paper that I could find looking at actual penis size statistics. And it shows that 90% of men are between 4.3 and 6.3 inches, or between 11 centimeters and 16 centimeters. Now you have some outliers on either side, but once again, the range is right around that 5-inch mark is going to be the average size, guys. The end. And then of course they talk about in the study how most of the guys, in fact, almost 50% of the men that were interested in penis enlargement surgeries were at least average, if not above average. The problem is with this prawn and social media and TikTok, people and Netflix and all of these shows skew men's and women's minds to think that what is average is actually small and what is above average is normal and what is to be desired or the best thing is to be ridiculously big. And that's just not reality, guys. Please, I have a whole video about all the enlargement surgeries and why you should never do them. And I'm going to have the video coming soon, breaking it down. But if you're interested, leviathansubs.com. Many of them are also available on Amazon. All the links are in the description, guys. So where this also comes into play is on subreddits like Getting Bigger or r/Hink, okay? What you will see is that the guys who are posting before and afters are the guys that are already big, okay? I'm guilty of this, guys. When I started, I was very well above average, okay? Almost I don't know if I was quite 2 standard deviations, but significantly bigger than average. When all you see is guys that are the bigger guys starting off that are willing to put themselves out there, you're going to think that all the guys are bigger. And it comes up all the time. It's like, everybody on here is so big. It's like, no, it's just the guys that are smaller or average are too embarrassed, for lack of a better word, to put themselves out there. So if you're smaller average guys and you have had good growth, like, please get on getting bigger, or get on r/Hink and share your progress. Let people know that, yes, there's average guys that do gain as well. In closing, number one, you're bigger than you think, okay? The averages are smaller than you think. And when you do see guys that are showing their junk, whether it be an actor or whether it be somebody on before and after, oftentimes that volunteer bias, knowing that they're already bigger, is going to come into play to actually show themselves off, guys. I hope you actually learned something today, and I hope this is starting to sink in for at least some of you hard-headed guys that refuse to believe that an average penis size is anything less than 18 inches, okay? Hopefully this helps. Guys, remember, there's nothing wrong with self-improvement. Be the best version of yourself, but you are enough just as you are. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace and love. Thanks for watching to this far, guys. If you're interested in supporting me, you can go through my Patreon if you just want to donate, or that's also how you will reach me for direct coaching or injury coaching. Please join me for discussions regarding men's health topics on my subreddit r/Hink. And guys, Callie does great work, and if you want to support him, you can buy him a coffee. The link is in the description. The link will also come with, I believe, 20 different wallpapers and like 8K that you can use for your phone. So if you're interested, guys, check it out. Once again, thanks for watching. Really appreciate you guys. Peace and love.